You've seen the work we've put in, day out, challenging myths, debunking old wives' tales, and rejecting poor breeding practices. We've dedicated years of research, study, and real-world experiences to perfect the art and science of breeding. And we do it for one reason: to bring you the best, most accurate information possible. Because you know what? You deserve nothing less. But to keep this mission growing week after week, we need you. If you found value in the Bred to Perfection podcast, please take a moment to rate and review us. A 5-star rating and a quick comment might seem small, but every review helps us reach more breeders who need to hear the truth, who want to learn what it really takes to create, improve, and maintain top quality strains. This isn't just a podcast, it's a movement, and you are a vital part of it. If you believe in what we're doing, if you want to help others wake up and become better breeders, push this podcast to the top. Rate, review, and share. Together, we make a difference. Thank you for standing with us. Now, let's get to work. Entertaining, informative, and educational. Inspiring content that makes a difference.
This is the Maximus Troy Publications Broadcasting Network.
Join the Academy. The Breeders Academy proudly presents Bred to Perfection with Kenny Troiano, a show for serious breeders.
Whether you are looking to create a new strain or simply improve an old one, you have come to the right place.
Daddy, I want more chicken.
Oh, boy.
Now, here's your host, Kenny Troiano.
Well, hello everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Bred to Perfection. My name is Kenny Troiano, and this, my friends, is the podcast devoted to helping you become a better breeder and taking your strain to the next level. That's right, my friends. It doesn't matter if you are brand new to breeding or you've been breeding for many years. There is something all of us can do to improve our fowl for future generations.
I want to make things, Dad.
Stay away from the humans. It's dangerous. Now shut up and eat your garbage.
Okay, welcome to another episode of Bred to Perfection. I'm Kenny Troiano, founder of the Breeders Academy, and I'm here with my wife Nancy and my co-host Frank Bradley, and today's guest is Peter Brown. How you doing, Peter?
I'm all right. How are you all doing?
We're doing good.
Good.
Yay!
Welcome back, Peter.
You know, this is a breeding show, but we're not going to be teaching you how to breed rats. We're going to teach you how to do something about it. How to get rid of them.
The opposite.
In the green room, we were coming up with all kinds of good ways of getting rid of them. Frank's got my mind ticking, man. I'm telling you. I'm thinking.
Some I can't mention due to TF regulations and all. Yeah.
Let's put it this way. I'm going to the sporting goods store tomorrow, okay?
Oh my goodness, you boys.
So what's going on with you, Frank?
Oh, trying to deal with this weather. Kentucky is unpredictable. We went through 2.5 weeks of just below cold temperatures where everything was frozen. And we're about a month off. I was outside front of the house, and the Easter flowers are coming up, and the frogs are starting to sing in the ponds. And that's not until another month away. So I don't know what's going on.
We finally got rain. No. Drizzle. We got something that looked like rain.
Nancy was happy.
Yes,
Yeah.
only was. We've got a little bit of peach fuzz growing out there in the backyard called grass.
It's not grass. It's green, but it's not grass.
I call my yard controlled weeds.
That's ours.
You keep it cut down, it looks good. You let it grow, it looks bad. That's all.
If it left that to me, I'd have cement everywhere. Concrete, or no grass.
See, we usually have quite a bit of rain by now. You see my yard, Frank, when it's all green. Usually it's green like that. I'm usually mowing it by now, right? She's right. There's like little patches of area that are maybe 6 feet by 6 feet in various parts of our yard that shows a little green. That's about it.
There was a big difference between May when we come out and October. October, it was just like straw. It was dead, no color to it. But in May, it was beautiful. Had the little flowers growing in it, it was beautiful in May.
Well, right now it's dirt.
That's what I like.
When you come out in October, there's not going to be anything out here at all. Not even the dead stuff.
That's all we do here is cut grass. Through the warmer months, from about end of April until October, it's just grass cutting. It never stops. Weed eating or grass cutting, and I don't like to do either.
Just so you know, you guys, you want to contact Peter for medications, disease prevention, trying to figure out what's going on with your chickens, just go to firststatevetsupply.com and you can contact Peter. And for my members, you want to learn more about healthcare, disease prevention, how to fix your birds, we have a page on the website, healthcare page, where you're going to learn more from Peter Brown and Dr. Gallardo. So make sure you go do that. Website's open for new members. As soon as you join or as soon as you enroll, you'll have instant access to the Founders Program, Masters Class videos, members roundtables, all our programs and courses, the daily articles, and then information from Dr. Gallardo, Peter Brown, and Brian Reeder. We also do coaching calls. Just go to www.breedersacademy.com to enroll.
We'll be right back after a word from our sponsor. This show was brought to you by the Breeders Academy, where we will help you to increase your knowledge of breeding, advance your skills as a breeder, and help you to improve the quality and performance of your fowl. As a member, we'll provide you with the roadmap that you will need to create a true family or strain. I urge you to check it out. You've got nothing to lose, and you can cancel at any time. You also have a 30-day money-back guarantee. Simply go to www.breedersacademy.com to sign up.
The Breeders Academy will not only change the way you think about breeding, but improve the way you breed your fowl.
I hope to see you there. So let's get started.
Okay, so this is going to be interesting because we're going to be talking about rodents and what to do about them. But Peter, do you want to talk a little bit about AI before we get started?
I just wanted to throw out there's a lot of people thinking that, they're just running around killing chickens and wild birds. Really not true. The wild birds are dropping like flies. I mean, I don't know about where you are, but we've got tons of them here. You find them dead in the fields here. And that's actually about less than a week before our first outbreak here. They had a bunch of dead snow geese in the field here within a week. Yeah, it's kind of weird. I was reading an article today. They're trying to figure out how this gets into a closed chicken house. And it has to be either through birds that live in and out of those chicken houses. I mean, sparrows, this, that, and the other thing that are getting in has to be. Or it's the feathers from birds that are outside of these houses that pick up this stuff. I mean, it certainly can come in from the people that are there. Anybody that has looked at trying to keep something clean, if you have children, don't put your fingers in your mouth, don't put your fingers in your nose, don't do this, don't do that, but they do it anyway. People do the same thing. They get doing a routine and then start taking shortcuts. It's an interesting thing. And if you think about it, years and years and years ago, when I trained at Shaver Breeding Farm up in Canada, you go into the facility and then you go into a shower room and you put all your clothes in a locker, you strip down, you get in a shower, you take a shower, you put your undergarments back on, but then you put on their clothes, their shoes. You don't get into that big breeder houses and hatchery and stuff unless you do it. And you don't see them breaking down with stuff. The security's tight. And I just think on a lot of these farms, the security becomes lax. The thing, well, it's not going to happen to me. It's always the other guy. And it's just crazy. And people don't understand either. Just think about it. Let's say you had 1.2 million birds. I bring that up because there's a farm west that just had that problem within the last week. So they come in, they put 1.2 million birds down. Where in God's name do you get those replacement birds? You don't. Not like you want them. That farm will sit there for a long time before you find 1.2 million pullets to put in there. If you think about it, you got 21 days to hatch after you find the eggs, because all of this stuff is scheduled everywhere. So this schedule is broken. So now you're trying to get pullets to put back in your facility after it's been depopulated, after it's been cleaned, after it lays fallow for 30 to 60 days, and then gets tested to make sure that there's no virus present. I don't care what people believe. Everybody's got a conspiracy theory. It's the government. It's this, it's that. So if you really want to look at it and you follow the disease itself, it's the H5N1, H5N9, those type of things. But you look at what they call the clade, CLADE. That's the footprint. And that goes in 4.3. Whatever. You can look it up. But my point is, they can tell you exactly where it came from, where it first got its start. This outbreak goes all the way back to 1996, I believe, in China. So if this is a conspiracy theory and we're trying to spread this throughout the world, pretty damn slow. You know what I'm saying? So I just don't buy into conspiracy theories. You got to bring me the bacon to show me. I just don't see it that way. I mean, this whole thing is a tragedy. There isn't any question about it. And we're talking about only in this country, there's been over 150 million birds put down. You're not talking about all of Europe, South America, and every other place, Japan, Mexico. Last year, Mexico had just gotten, they're okay that they were clean from AI, and 2 weeks later, boom, back again. You know, where you get this stuff from?
Can you refresh our memories on what are the symptoms of AI?
Generally speaking, besides the mortality usually spikes pretty quick when they start dying. But first thing you'll see, most people have been reporting is when they come into the chicken house or the turkey house in the morning, no noise, quiet, dead quiet.
Oh, yeah, I could see that.
It's the first symptom. Anybody that's been in a chicken house, even in small chicken houses, when they get off the roost in the morning, they're noisy. They're around, they're ready to roll. And then you start to see drinking lots of water, copious amounts of water, and then the mortality. And that all may come within hours of each other. You know, people say, well, you have to kill them all. Well, which ones do you save? How do you know? You're going to go through and you're going to test 1.2 million birds?
That was my next question. If only 2 or 3 of them are showing the symptoms, why do they have to depopulate the whole yard?
Because the research in the past has shown that AI could be low path starting in the front of a house. And by the time it makes its way to the end of the house, it's high path. So it's a dangerous virus. People are going to have their conspiracy theories. Everybody loves one. Everybody's got the answer. If they had the answer, they'd have it fixed.
What I'm getting here is just that conspiracy theories. They're saying now that's the reason that they took all the antibiotics off the shelves in these feed stores. No. And I was like, guys, if you get this, no miracle drug's going to save you, get you out of this. It's just not going to happen. Forget about the medications.
And the true story about the medications is they were after the commercial poultry industry. And again, I've said this before on the show. If you go back and look at some of them, 35 years too late, as typical with the government. Instead of enacting it long time ago, they decided now was the time that they were going to restrict antibiotic use in the food chain. But nobody has ever eaten a chicken that had any appreciable amount of antibiotic, and it's not allowed by law. I don't care what you read. There are no steroids. They've never been allowed. That's all propaganda, all of it. Not allowed. I mean, if you want to go to jail quick, just go out here and put some steroids in some chickens and sell them in the marketplace to see what happens.
When it comes to the commercial, though, wouldn't you say this, maybe the biggest spread of it is the people that work there that also have chickens at home?
Could be.
They shouldn't, right?
They're not supposed to, but they do it anyway.
Yeah.
You know, that happens here where I live. I mean, there's a chicken house on every street corner practically here. This is the home of Purdue Farms, right down the street from where I'm talking, about 3 miles.
Because if you look at the chicken farms around my area, most of them aren't outside. They're all inside a building. It'd be tough to get that in there. It'd have to be walked in there by the workers.
Way back, probably 2022, 23, out in Iowa, in those laying houses out there. One house broke with it, and they couldn't figure out why the other. Well, they were taking uncleaned equipment from this place where they were depopulating and going to the next one and doing their work over there. So when you get epidemiologists to come in, they can find most of this stuff. But there's some thoughts now that it's being brought in because most of these places have powerful fans, suck fresh air in and everything else. There's some thought now that some of it's coming in that way. Here's another thing here. The state here requires each and every farm, any drainage water has to stay on the farm. So a lot of the farms here, especially the newer ones, have huge retention ponds. Stupid.
Now, what state are you in?
Maryland.
Maryland.
Maryland, Delaware. It's what they call the Delmarva Peninsula. Okay, you got Chesapeake Bay to my west. You got the Atlantic Ocean to my east. And then the top part of the peninsula is Delaware. Where I live is Maryland. The bottom part's Virginia.
So they're thinking that water is just going to evaporate through the summer months? I mean, what's going to happen to that tainted water?
Stays there.
Designed to stay there. It's not to leave the property. So those retention ponds are built, they're clay lined in the bottom. Each one of these costs in excess of $100,000 to build. They're huge. They're populated with geese. The wild geese come in and then they find a home. One thing you can do for yourselves, anybody that's interested in it, and the product actually comes out of California, don't like the taste of garlic. So I used to sell a product that came out of there. I'm trying to think of the name of it now. It'll come to me eventually. But you can buy it. It's a liquid. They take the garlic that's not fit for sale, which is odd sized and broken and that kind of stuff, and they crush it and take the oil. It's called mosquito barrier. So it takes care of the mosquitoes who don't like the sulfur smell of it. And the geese don't like the taste of it when they come to eat the grass. So if you put it on your property, it's used as a deterrent for them and deer as well. You can go to their website and they'll tell you how to do it. It's pretty cool. And you don't have to take a pond and put it in all of it. Like if you wanted mosquitoes and stuff, mosquitoes don't hang out in the middle of the pond. They hang out around the brackish water and at the edges. So you can get some soaps and stuff and use it as surfactant and just spray around 3 foot out from the edge of the pond. It should control the mosquitoes fairly well. You can do it on your lawn.
That's the reason we don't see a lot of the avian veterinarians. When you do see one, they'll never own chickens, ever.
So they're not supposed to. Now you take up here at the Delaware Poultry Lab in Georgetown, he had game chickens.
What if you first find out that your flock has AI and you've been eating the eggs? Is that a concern?
I don't think so. The heating of the eggs, it kills most of these viruses. Even pasteurization of milk, where they momentarily heat it up to a certain temperature and then drop it back down, seems to kill the virus, even though the government was late coming out with the data on that. Because this thing is dangerous. I'm not an alarmist by any stretch. People that know me, I'm a realist. Things are what they are. So when I say it's dangerous, I mean, this is jump to cows. If you do the research and you read, and you'll find out what makes it go to cows. Okay, now, this is going to sound weird, but it's the absolute truth. This virus has picked up an affinity for the teat material in the cow, the teats. That's where they're finding the virus. Half the population has those.
The ones that's passed away from AI, though, from what I've gathered, all of them had outlining health issues. Have you heard of anybody that was a healthy individual that's died from this disease?
They won't tell you. I think that they're trying to sugarcoat some things. That everybody that I've seen so far has had underlying issues, and they never say what those are. But it is a scary thing. I think it warrants people to pay attention. It could get out of hand. I'm not saying it is. Again, I'm not an alarmist. I'm a realist. This is what it is.
As bad as it is, I hope we don't get to the point where we're vaccinating our birds because of it.
I doubt it. The vaccination program.
They keep talking like that.
Yeah, they keep pumping up the vaccination program in Europe, and there are successes with it and there are failures. So until you get to the point where you can vaccinate every bird and be successful, to me, it's a failure.
Is breeding for disease resistance possible for this virus?
I don't know if you can or not. I've never delved into that. It would be almost impossible for the commercial poultry industry to pull that off. They've got enough problems with fast-growing broilers and woody breast and everything else. You'll know woody breast when you go to the store and you buy it and you get it home and you can nail it to the bottom of your shoe. You can walk around with it on. You can't eat it.
This is an interesting idea. It's like the commercial industry. It's the broilers and the layers that are getting hit, but you never hear it being the protected lines, the great-grandparent line. Don't you find that kind of funny?
That's what I was alluding to before. You won't get on that property. You won't.
Why are they able to keep their birds protected even from AI, but the commercial growers can't?
Smaller group of people working on those farms.
That's right.
To my knowledge, and I haven't been on those farms in years, but I know what I know from back in those days, the people are dedicated to those jobs. Those birds are precious to all of them, even though they don't own one of them. You get in there every day and you're dealing with these particular chickens and you see what they become and so on and so forth. People get attached to it.
So Barbara's asking, if I put netting over my chicken run, will it protect my flock? The problem is, it's not them so much landing on your pens. It's flying over and dropping their droppings on your farm as they go. Dr. Gallardo, and you might even said the same thing, Peter, all they have to do is drop some poop about the size of a dime, and before you know it, affect your whole yard.
That's right. Wouldn't take long either.
Yeah.
It's a very vicious virus. That's why I say it's dangerous, and again, people have all of their own ideas about these things, and I let them run with it. I'm not the traffic cop. I put out what I know to be the truth, and if we find out something different, I'll let you know.
We build our birds, say, off resistance itself. Even if birds are resistant to the disease, they get taken out as well with the ones that are infected. So there's really no way to get past that, because the ones that's not been affected from the AI is being culled with the ones that are contaminated.
That's what made me think about it, Frank, is that even if the commercial birds, the broilers and the layers got hit, it wouldn't matter whether they were resistant or not, because that's not where the breeding comes from. It comes from the protected lines, the grandparent lines. And if they got hit, we would never even know it, probably.
Well, a bird being protected from actually getting the disease, that scenario did up until recently exist. When this started out originally in ducks, and it was basically juvenile mallards way, way back. It just easily every year spread differently to different birds, but it never killed them. They were carriers. I looked into it, and the reason for that is at that time it was just a gut virus. They got it, they crapped it out, they got it, they crapped it out. It didn't seem to affect them. Now that's not so. Now it's killing the host.
Yep.
And that's good and bad, because the only way to get rid of it is to kill the host, technically, when you think about it. So, like I said, I think it's dangerous virus. And we've had a couple of, I think we've had a H5N9 show up in California, if my memory serves me correctly, or Nevada or someplace like that. And now there's another one that just showed up someplace else with a slight change in the genome. And that would be in that clade that I was talking about. But you can find out all that information. It's online. It's going to do what all flu viruses do. Every time it goes through an animal, it's going to change. And it's going to change. And it's going to change. And there are about somewhere around 30, 35 different mutations that if those to take place in any particular succession, it could be jumping to humans.
So what's going to happen then, and correct me if I'm wrong, it's either going to, like you said, kill the host, it's going to go to the point where it's killing all the hosts and it kills itself, or it's going to get weaker as it goes, right? Eventually.
Mm-hmm.
But it's going to take a while, but it's going to weaken as it goes, because for it to be spread, the host has to be able to carry it to its destination. And that means it's getting weaker as it goes, right?
Yeah. And for whatever reason, and I don't know why, I've never bothered to look into it. I got enough things going on in my head, but turkeys are super sensitive to it. And if you even look at mycoplasma, they're super sensitive to that too. They die from mycoplasma. You look at them cross-eyed and they die. So it must be just their fragile nature and maybe lack of a really super good immune system. That's a possibility.
Yeah. So all we can do now is just protect our chicken, stay off of others' yards, keep people off your yards.
Yep.
Showing can be a risk at this point. Just do everything you can to keep the exposure down. Protect your birds.
Yeah, most shows here on the East Coast have been shut down.
Yeah, keep the wild animals out of your yard as much as possible, and hopefully we'll get through it. It's going to take a little while, though.
Things people can do is pick the feed up at night. Don't leave it out for the rats and everything else that's going to come along before you get out in the morning and start eating the feed. If you want to put netting up, put shade netting up that is solid, but will let air and light through to a degree, but it won't let the droppings fall through the top. If the person that wanted to put netting on top, not regular netting, it's a shade netting you can buy. Not overly expensive, but I would do that. You can string it up and it's pretty easy to do. And again, keep people off your place. You don't need them there,
Yeah.
Let your dog run in with your chickens. I still say in a lot of places, you take like here, these guys that have these farms here, pickup truck, dog, and a gun in the back window, and they've been hunting this morning, ducks and everything else. I don't think they're going home to shower. I really don't. That's my feeling. They're running late, and they got dead chickens to pick up in the chicken houses to get their dog who's been picking up ducks, and they go in the chicken house. What's to keep them from doing it? There's no forethought there. When you've been doing something for 25 years, when all of a sudden I want you to make another left turn somewhere, you'll forget to make that left turn almost every time until it becomes routine.
I kind of wonder how many are getting it and not reporting it and just getting rid of the chickens.
Not many, because you get paid an indemnity fee. And that's another thing. People say, well, they just kill them because they make money. They make nothing. They lose their backside on these things. Are you kidding me? Farm gets paid for the cleanup. They get paid for the value and not the market value of the birds that are there. If you hesitate to call, say you decide to wait and see, you got mortality, but you're going to wait and see. After 2 or 3 days, maybe you got 2,000 or 3,000 birds dead. Now they won't pay them for them.
Yeah.
Because you didn't call. You could have prevented the extra mortality. Even though they're going to die, it's kind of an odd rule, but that's the way they work.
I've had people get angry because I wouldn't let them come on my
place.
Hey,
they thought it was an arrogance or something. But in the end, I look at it this way. I'm responsible for my birds. If my birds get sick, 9 times out of 10, it's something that I done or didn't do that allowed them to get sick. And I'm just not going to lose my birds just because somebody doesn't get butthurt for letting them come on my yard. It's not going to happen.
I agree. But, people are people, and everybody's got opinions, and, everybody's got a better mousetrap. You can go online, you can find all kinds of things. Feed your chickens lemon balm, and he'll stop AI, and there's a couple of other wackadoodle things that you can do. And what people don't understand about most of the research that they read, these experiments were never done in chickens. The chickens were never challenged with a virulent virus. They were all done in a petri dish. As my good friend, Dr. Bharat Agarwal, used to tell me, he said, you can kill anything in a petri dish if you put enough shit in it. Excuse my language. His words, not mine.
And not always what works in the dish will work on the animal itself.
Absolutely. Absolutely. That's why they do double-blind studies and everything else on things to see, what's real and what isn't. So, but people want to believe stuff. That's okay. You want to live in a fantasy world, go to live there. I don't live there.
Well, they tend to believe stuff that makes their life easier, and they don't believe the stuff that makes their life harder.
Especially if you're doing something wrong and you know it, but you still want to get away with it. That's why they fight it so hard. Well, I've been doing this since this time. Yeah, like I used to say when I did another radio show for many years before this one. Every day you run out in front of that bus and you thumb your nose at the bus driver. You didn't get me, you didn't get me. And the next day you come out and see that little stone there and you tripped over and run your butt over. That's the mentality that's out there.
Yeah, just that. You brought up a thing. I worked with a buddy 20-some years ago, and these little inhalers, they sort of look like this, and you pull them off and you inhale them, menthol. Yep. I called his name out and I said, you're addicted to those things. And he said, Frank, I'm not addicted to those things. I've been using them for 25 years and I haven't got addicted to them yet. So that I can relate to that. Yeah.
That is funny.
Yeah.
That is funny.
Kelly saying, this is depressing. Kelly, this is just chicken raising. We're always dealing with something. It just seems like there's always something that's going to take our chickens out, whether it's a disease, a predator, or some other thing. When it comes to chickens, they're the Snicker bars of the natural world, and they're just prone to getting hit by anything. You just got to do what you can to protect them. If you do your homework, do what you need to do, chances are nothing's going to happen to you. It's just chicken raising.
Look back on the earlier cases of it. I think we got it pretty good compared to what it was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I never worry. I just do what I can to protect my chickens. I do what I'm supposed to do. Biosecurity, keep people off my yard, keep the wild animals out as much as possible. Feed them proper nutrition, take care of them properly. And most of the time, I don't have a problem with it. Peter, I was telling Frank the other day that, like the Newcastles when it hit us in California. In the early days, like in 2003. I know there was one big one years before that. But before we knew we had Newcastles, I had a guy come to buy chickens back when I was selling chickens. He backed his truck into my yard to pick up and load up the chickens. Open up the back, and it's already filled with chickens. I'm like, oh, this is weird. I go, what's going on here? And he goes, I just brought these from Mexico. I went, holy crap.
Oh, geez.
I said, okay, let's get them in there. Let's get you out of here.
Get out of here.
Yeah. He calls me, I think it was like the next day, says, are your chickens okay? And I go, yeah, why? And he goes, because my chickens are dying. They're all just dying on me. And I go, well, my chickens are fine. Shortly after that, we found out that Newcastle's hit. So it sounds like I had Newcastles in my backyard and I got lucky.
Either that or he had a truckload of it, and it's a vicious disease, especially that.
No, I think his birds did have Newcastles, and he brought the Newcastles on my yard with his chickens. Thank God it didn't spread into my chickens. So I kind of got lucky. Yeah, I think I dodged a bullet.
Yeah, because none of those chickens that were in his truck were let out into our yard.
Yeah.
So we got lucky with that.
So I think he had Newcastles in his truck. We just didn't know it.
Yeah, I don't doubt that.
Yeah. So I got lucky.
Yeah. I don't think it would take for feathers or feces or anything to fall out there on your yard.
It's a very vicious type of Newcastle. It's really wicked, and there really isn't any vaccination for it. They've never bothered to go after it. They got enough trouble controlling it anyway, especially in the European countries. They have outbreaks of Newcastle almost all the time.
I've seen they're just terrible. Terrible.
Do we have any suggestions? Kelly says his neighbor sometimes plants peas and geese fly over his yard by the hundreds. What can Kelly do about that with these geese flying over his property?
We try some of that mosquito barrier. Well, seriously, I'd try it. It's not expensive.
I use big flags. You take ducks and wild birds, they hate flags. Anything that whips in the air like that, it takes your chickens a little bit to get used to it. But I'm telling you, the crows, any type of birds, those big flags whipping, they won't come close to it. Now, if you leave it up, they'll get used to it. But the best way to do is put it down, put it up for a couple of days, put it down for a week, and just keep doing that. But it'll keep a lot of birds off your place just by having one of those.
Pull a Yellowstone on them. without saying too much.
Yeah.
We've been watching that lately. There's more people dying in that show than Game of Thrones, man.
I don't know. I'm watching one right now series, and when it started and when it finished, it's got one guy that's in it that's alive at the end of it, and everybody else is dead. So.
Here you go, Kenny.
Take him to the train station. Exactly.
All of you people out there that have seen or watched Yellowstone know exactly what that means.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's become my favorite show.
Yeah, really good. Highly recommend it.
Yeah.
All right. So are we ready to move on to our beloved rats?
Anytime. Whichever way you want to go.
Well, how do you want to start? Because do you want to start on the most common rats out there? Do you want to talk about that, or how do you want to start?
I'm not sure what the most common are. And I'm not so sure identifying the rat itself is so much of a need as to identify the fact that you have them. You take the actions to get rid of them.
We don't have to know them by name. We just got to know we got them, right?
No.
Well, I know one thing. Kenny's rats look like mice compared to the ones I've got. They look like cats.
Would it be to your benefit to know the type of rat that you have? Are there some types of rats that are smarter than others, or they have certain characteristics that other rats don't?
Not to my knowledge. I mean, they're opportunistic. Basically, when you look at rodents like that, they're looking for two things: food and shelter, just like anybody else. Just like a human, you're looking, got to have food and shelter. Once they establish that, then getting rid of them is pretty tough. It's kind of like inviting an in-law in and they don't go home.
A rat is a rat, right?
Yeah. And then they bring their children.
You said it. I didn't.
The rest of the family.
But I hear if you starve them properly, they'll eat their children. They'll help you exterminate their own family.
They'll find food.
Well, you're talking about a rat. We'll do that.
Yeah.
They all do that. And that's true because what happens is when the food source dries up, they thin the colony.
Yeah.
They go through and they kill them.
I've witnessed that myself.
Yeah.
One attacking another one and eating. Yep. A rat will not go hungry.
Nope. Somebody's going to eat one of them.
Yeah.
It may not be all of them, but some of them are going to eat.
All I know is you have to stay on top of them. You know, the first 10 years, we didn't have rats. They built a school up the road here, and all of a sudden we had rats. I just stayed on top of it, and I kept them under control. Do you ever get rid of them? Probably not, but you got to keep control of them. And so I was hitting them with a pellet gun, keeping them down. I have traps, I have poison, doing everything I can, keeping the numbers down. And then I got bronchitis, and I couldn't go out here because you have to do a lot of it at night. I couldn't go out there and take care of it for like a month. Came out there, and there were so many of them. I'm telling you, Pete, just the sight of that many rats made me nauseous.
Yeah. Yeah.
I hate a rat. I despise them.
I've been on poultry farms like that before.
Oh, my God. Every day I was shooting them, I was killing like a dozen a day for like weeks, and I finally got control of them.
The good poison that I started using, it made a difference. I hadn't seen them probably for 8 years, and then the other day I seen a hole dug out, and I was like, yes! Finally, I got one. So I went and got my Sniper 22 pellet rifle out and took care of it, but it was just a couple. One of them was a female, so I hope she didn't have any babies before I could take care of her.
Where there's a couple, there's more.
Yes.
There's more.
So let's talk about their behaviors. That's probably the most interesting because you need to outsmart them. They're the smartest animals I know. And if you don't outsmart them, they're going to be on top of you.
In that article that I wrote and sent to you, I had a headline in there called Know Your Enemy.
Yeah.
So when you take a rat, or one of your dead rats, pick it up and look at it. Pick it up by the tail and just look at its body. And when you look at it, you'll see the fur, and then you'll see these longer hairs up and down the body, both sides. And they were called with prehensile hairs. And because they have bad eyesight, they will use those to tell them where they are. And you generally don't see a rat running around in the middle of a room unless it's being chased because they don't see well. So, I mean, if there's food out there and they're really hungry, they may go to it. But generally, you can look for the presence of them. If you don't visually see one, then you look for the oil that they'll leave on the path. They usually take the same path to and fro wherever they're going all the time. So you'll see that oil eventually on the wall where those prehensile hairs in their body were touching. They'll bounce off the wall. When you see them, they don't walk in a straight line like your cat or your dog might do. They're always leaning a little bit to one side or another. So knowing how they go about their business and knowing that they're there for food and shelter. So then the next thing is deny those two things to them. If you're going to build a new chicken hen, build them out from the start. Don't allow them in. That means taking all the nooks and crannies and all the little things that if you're a lousy carpenter like me, you might have a gap here that you can throw a cat through, and you're going to have to put something over it. Don't leave that gap there so that they stand there and whistle to the rest of them. Come on, there's a hole over here we can go in, and then go in and eat the bedding, eat the chickens and what have you, because they will eat the chickens. They can get very aggressive.
Most of our pens aren't like that, though. I mean, Frank's seen mine. They can make their way into my pens easily.
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 Yeah.
Skunk can get in Kenny's pens.
You've seen that personally.
Yeah, and we was out there, and I looked over, and there's a skunk. When you're from Kentucky and a country boy like me, you see a skunk, you go the other way. And Kenny's like, oh, they're all right. They won't bother you, And I was like, the ones back home, you can't say that. If you're that close to see them, you're smelling them.
I was getting closer. He was backing away.
I was gone.
And I said, watch this. And he walked right through that chain link fence like it was nothing.
Yeah. Didn't even stop. Didn't slow his speed down. Just right through it. Those little small chain link
Yep.
wires went right through it. No problem.
So these rats are pretty athletic. They can fall from 50 feet and still walk away like nothing happened. 48-inch horizontal jump, 36-inch vertical jump. Most rats can fit through an opening about a half inch. So it tells you how tight your building's got to be.
Let me say something on that, because I know you're right. I'll tell you why. You talked about keeping the holes shut so they can't get in. We have a shed. It's like a mini garage out here just outside my den. And we never have had rats in there. All of a sudden, I'm not sure how it got in there. I think we left the door open or whatever, and we had rats in there. We start seeing signs of it. So I started laying poison out to get them. I got the feed. It's in a trash can. Left the top open, went to go feed the chickens, came back. When I opened the door, a rat ran out of it. So just in the time that I got the feed, went out to the chicken yard, came back, he had got into that can because I left the top open. That's a good jump from the ground up. That's easily 3 feet that he got in there.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And I don't know how he knew it was in there in the first place in that short a time.
Smell.
That was amazing.
Yeah, there's a video that went viral, one out in New York. Is a huge rat, and it was taking down a full-grown adult pigeon. Just grabbed it and packed it off like it was nothing.
That's crazy. I should be losing pigeons out there.
Well, you've got enough feed. Now, you pull that feed up and take their food supply away from them, you'll start missing those pigeons.
Now I know what to do, and I need to knock my numbers down, right?
That will do it. That will definitely do it. Yep.
So they're also good swimmers. They can swim about a half a mile in open water. So just think about that. They want to get across the river to get to the other side. They're capable of doing it. So it's really just getting to know what their capabilities are. Obviously, the damage they can do, millions upon millions of dollars worth of damage every year to grain stocks, chicken houses. Most people don't think of rodent control until it's pretty well full blown all over the place. And then they decide they got to do something. But they can be destructive. I mean, they chew through your wiring, set the house on fire, set chicken house on fire.
Let me ask you something. Do they prefer making their nest above the ground in structures or under the ground, if they had a choice?
They're really burrowers. That's why you find them under concrete a lot. They burrow into the ground, dig it out, and get under there. You think about it, it's good shelter for them. There's concrete over top of them. And, predator wants to get them, or even yourself, you got to come in through the front door. You're not going to knock the concrete out to get to them. But
so they'll dig their own holes?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely.
You'd have to see them ghost for miles under the ground, too.
Oh, shoot.
I'm not overly familiar with how they construct their nest in the ground, but they get a whole family in there.
I made some at-home fireworks, and there was one big hole, and I kept seeing them go in it. So I stuck it in it and lit it, and my lot went back another 35, 40 yards into the side of the hill. So when that went off, I come back about an hour later, and there was smoke coming out of just little holes all in the woods up there. You can see the smoke coming out of it. It more or less took a road map of where they was traveling. And I couldn't believe how many of those holes was connected. I mean, there was hundreds of them, and all the smoke coming out of each individual hole.
But that's a big colony.
Yeah.
And if you're seeing them running around during the day, that means you've got a boatload of them. They just don't have a normal population.
They run into me.
Yeah.
And just boom right into my leg.
Yeah. If you have something going on, anybody's got that kind of thing going on where you see them running around in the daylight, trying to get in your feed bin and that kind of stuff, you've got an overpopulation because they're nocturnal. They don't like to be out during the day.
Yeah. You're telling me that if you see them during the day, you're infested. Yeah.
Yep.
See, I've got a big rat snake on the farm. He's about 12 foot long.
Wow.
So when I use decon, I have to catch him and put him up because if I put decon out and the rats get poisoned and he eats the rats, it's going to kill him too. I've lost a couple that way, not thinking beforehand. So before I put it out now, I catch him, put him up. I think that's the reason I've not been seeing a lot of rats, because every year, right there he is.
Mm-hmm.
Same old boy, and he's a big old boy, too.
Yeah, and the problem with having a cat is the barn cats, they get lazy, especially if you start feeding them anything. If you let them fend for themselves, they might do their job.
You hear that, Nancy?
No, my kitty cat's getting fed. Sorry.
No, the ones running wild around our yard.
Oh.
You're feeding them. They're not catching the mice and the rats.
Ours don't eat them, but they do kill them. It makes me mad because we've got one. That's all he does every time we let him out. It's a bird, a gray squirrel. I mean, he's even attacked a groundhog. There's nothing off for him, but he never eats it. Like Peter said, just kills it and leaves it lay there and doesn't eat on it. But I did sort of took out 2 birds with 1 stone. I was poisoning those rats talking about, and I had some possums that was hanging around. I never could catch them, and they got a hold of those poison rats. So I took care of all of them just by 1.
You're saying here that they have poor vision and they're colorblind. How do we know they're colorblind, for one thing?
Well, I don't know they're colorblind. I'm just saying they have very poor eyesight. That's been proven. And that's nature gave them those prehensile hairs to help them out. And they don't go far from home. They won't go far for a meal, about 100 feet or so in that range, maybe a little bit more.
So could you trip them up like how they walk along the back part of the pen on these like little rafters?
Yeah, they walk around the tops of the rafters on my pens.
Mm-hmm.
That's where I see them all the time.
So if you put little blocks or something like that to trip them up because now you've blocked part of their pathway?
It doesn't work. They just go right around it.
Right over it?
They just go right around it like it's nothing.
What you should do is rat blocks bait, and you come in a little bucket. And you can buy them, and they've got a hole in the middle of them. And using gloves on your hands, like I explained to you earlier, you don't want to touch the bait. If you leave your scent behind, if you're a smoker, or if you've got a lot of perfume on and you touch the bait with your hands, they'll urinate on it so that they'll know it doesn't belong there. So you want it to be as innocuous as it can. So if they're running around the top, they're about inch by inch, maybe less than a half an inch thick, got a hole in the middle of them. And just take one up there, a couple of different places. Like I say, put some gloves on, put it up there, put a nail in it, and just put it there. They'll eat it, put it right in their path. As long as they don't recognize that it doesn't belong there, which is through the scent. And so don't leave it with a scent on it and just put it up there.
Yeah, because they're really smart. If I put like a bait box or a trap or anything in that pen that wasn't there before, it takes forever for them to finally get used to it, to do some.
Got to get used to it.
So if you think you're going to put it over there at night and get a bunch of rats, chances are that's not going to happen.
Well, that's why I sent you those drawings that I had made of how to make one with a piece of 1x6. Put it up against the wall, catty corner on an angle to make a triangle out of it. Just put a screw in the middle of it, drop the bait behind it. And as long as you keep the bait fresh, so come back in a couple of days and check it. If they're not eating it, move it. Don't put bait where they're not going to go. Then you look for the signs of the bait, their oil from their fur and stuff, and the rub marks on the walls, burrows, trails through vegetation that you know your cat's not doing because it's too small. Personal observation, come out at night and scatter as soon as the lights come on, you got a problem. And so you start addressing that problem in that fashion, knowing that it's a formidable enemy. It's a small thing with a small brain, but pretty smart.
Tractor Supply makes some really good rat traps, too. It's just got the little ends. They just walk up to it. There's not a trap door or anything. They just walk in it, lift it up, put bait in it, and it can hold up probably 25 or 30 at one time. They make really good rat traps, about $30.
Here's the other thing. If you kill them too quickly, they'll stop eating the bait, too. They're smart.
Peter, they learned the sound of that pellet rifle. It will go off, and you wouldn't see them no more. 22 gunfire, you wouldn't see them anymore. You'd have to sit there and wait and wait and wait. So I fooled them. I got one of those game boats, had the silencer built onto it. And that worked for a little bit, and then they'd go right back to when they'd hear that go off, wouldn't see anymore. They're smart, very smart.
Yeah. So you just don't want to kill them too fast. So maybe up on your rafters, maybe you put 1 or 2 out instead of every 5-6 feet or something. And just put a couple out. A lot of baits, we'll talk about how tasty the bait is for them and everything else. You really don't want them to overdose on it right then and there. Although if they like it, they'll just sit right there and eat the whole thing, and they won't walk away from that spot. Mice are kind of neat in a way because you can play with them a little bit. They're easy to get. They don't seem to care near as much as the rats do. I had one on the counter here last year in the kitchen. I get up in the middle of the night, which is odd, and I went to get a drink of water, and I heard something. I looked on the counter, and I saw him. And he ran behind the toaster. So I went and got my rat bait and got my glove, and I just gently dropped it behind the toaster, and I come out in the morning, he was all feet to the sky.
Oh, wow. Damn.
Here's your cheese, little buddy.
Yep.
Yeah, I was out there one time and I was getting him, and there was this one he hid. I thought he was gone because of where he was. He should come back the same way. I waited and I waited, and I kind of went in there and I looked around. The little son of a bitch was hiding right behind it, just sitting there, waiting for me to leave. You know what I mean? And so they're patient and they're smart. They really are.
The best rat trap I've ever used in my life, and the most cheapest. A guy showed me how to do this. He took a 5-gallon bucket and he run a stiff wire through the top of it. And then he drilled a hole through a pop can and put it in the middle of that. And then put tape on each end of it where it would stay in the center. Put a little bit of peanut butter around that pop can and put a little board up to it. Filled up over half of water and put a little oil in it. So when the rat would go up to get the peanut butter on the pop can, he would roll off and go into the best rat mouse trap that you've ever used in your life. And easy to use.
He couldn't get out of it because of the oil in the
Got
water.
Oil in the water.
Yeah, he gets saturated with that oil and that water, and he's just sitting there. He can't get out.
Okay.
Can't jump his way out of that one once they get
Yeah,
wet.
not going to jump out of that. Yeah.
Nope.
But they're a formidable enemy. That's the way you have to look at it. If you want to see if you've got them, all you got to do is search the premise, look around the walls. Again, you're not going to find them hanging out in the middle of the room as a general rule. It's just not.
Sometimes people don't even know they got them.
Derek said he caught 25, and I'm assuming it's one of those ratnators or something like that, because that's what I have.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've seen them on Facebook too. People have them. And
They're awesome. I've got one. It's just about worn out from ground squirrels. Because I have the same thing with ground squirrels.
Oh, yeah, I catch ground squirrels so easy. Ground squirrels are easy to catch. Rats are a little harder. I'll catch one now and then in one of those traps, but the squirrels, I just have to sit next to their hole, and I catch them really fast.
I don't put poison out unless it's a have to, because we've got the little sugar gliders, the little flying squirrels, and we've got the ground squirrels and all those. So I only do it and I contain it to one area to where I know they're not going to be around it. You can put all kind of obstacles up and they'll still get to it when the ground squirrels won't.
You want to hear something funny? Our squirrels are ground squirrels. I love tree squirrels. They're beautiful, but these things look terrible and they're awful.
I saw when I was out there.
Yeah, they're ugly.
They look like a miniature gopher.
They just look terrible, actually. Anyways, I had one of those ratnators on top of my broody hens with their chicks. It's an area, they're dog crates. I use those from time to time. So I stuck that ratnator trap up there just for the time being. And I was walking by and I looked at it and I go, oh, I caught a rat because it's been up there forever, never caught anything. And I took a closer look and it was a ground squirrel way up there. I don't know how it found it. I don't know how it got up there in the first place. I've never seen a ground squirrel do that, but it was a ground squirrel up there in that inside that trap. So I said, okay, I'm going to finish feeding. I'll come back and take care of it. Came back like half an hour later. It got out. You know what I mean? So I don't know how it got up there. I don't know how it got in that trap. It barely fit into it, but he found his way out.
We have gray squirrels here, and they're very destructive.
Yeah, they are.
Yeah. They get in my feed house. I've got my feed in concealed buckets, plastic buckets, and they'll eat just like a rat through the side of those and destroy that. Actually, I thought it was a rat. So I was trying to trap it as a rat, and it wasn't working. So finally, we went in there, and Amanda said, there's something in the feed house. It was a full-grown adult gray squirrel that had been wreaking havoc on her feed in there.
If you let these squirrels go, you're right. They will destroy foundations, concrete sheds. They're so destructive, you cannot let them go. They eat the feed. They terrorize the chickens. They destroy things. So when I see them, ask Nancy, I have to jump on them right away because it's amazing how much damage they do in such a short amount of time.
They chew my feed cups up and carry them off.
Yep, I've seen that too.
Yep.
So here at my place, over the last 5-6 years, I've cut down the majority of the trees. We had these big loblolly pines. Some of them were in excess of 100 feet tall. As a matter of fact, a good portion of them. And while I like the trees, they're dirty. The pine chat's all over the place. The pine sap all over everything. So I cut most of them down. And part of the strategy there was the squirrels would go somewhere else where they haven't. I don't know, maybe it's punishment. Who knows? They have an affinity for my car to chew the wires off the wheel sensors.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
The first time it happened, this was probably 10 years ago, and they chewed through the high pressure fuel line. I was backing out of the driveway one day and I said, that don't smell right. You know,
trying to take you out, Peter.
I drove back up the driveway, opened the hood, and it was spraying that fine spray of fuel. I just envisioned myself going down the road and this thing blowing up. But Lately, it's been the wheel sensors. Actually, I have to take it in tomorrow to get it fixed. The chewed one off again.
That's the industry that I worked in. That was the two biggest things: chewed wires by rats, mice, squirrels, and dogs. And the other one was the mice will go inside of the blower motor for the heater and AC. It's like one of those little hamster cages, right?
Right.
And they would carry food in there. So when the person would flip it on, you know, you had all that dog food in there rolling around. And they would come in and I'd say, okay, if it's a fell part, it's covered under warranty. But if we find dog food or other things inside of it, the mouse or, I don't have mouse and rats. Okay. So we'd tear it down. I'd bring them out there and show it to them. He's like, wow. Yeah, I keep my dog food in the garage, though, so I must have a rat then.
Most people don't want to admit it, that
No.
they have those kinds of issues. It's a
No.
bad thing if you have it. A lot of people
Everybody's got them at some point. It's just whether do they stick around or not.
do.
That's
Yeah, or you let them stick around, one or the other.
Yeah.
My dad puts something in his engine. It either puts out a certain sound or some kind of vibration. I can't remember what it is, but he has to put it in his engine when he's not driving it to keep the rats out of his engine because they'll chew up the wires.
I've seen them sell those.
Is it vibration or sound or what is it?
Yeah, it's a sound. Similar to the ones that you put on your bumper for deer and stuff. It puts out a signal. The deer can hear it. The wild animals can hear it, you know, let you know it's coming. But it annoys them, it runs them off. I don't know if they work or not. I've never used them.
Yeah, that's what he has to do. I don't have that problem here. They're too busy with my chickens. They don't want nothing to do with my car. So
God.
that would be bad. So they only live a few years, huh, Peter?
About 3 years, 2 to 3 years.
But what they can do in that few years.
Unless if Frank's running around with his gun.
Yeah. Yeah. I ain't going to admit it. I get excited when I see one on my farm because that gives me a little, especially if deer season and everything's out, it keeps me up on my shooting skills.
You know, it says they only eat about an ounce of food per day. It's not that I worry about as much as it when they're eating, they pee inside the thing as they're eating.
Oh, yeah. They contaminate everything else. Yeah.
Yeah.
And they store feed. They store a lot of feed.
Do they?
A lot.
And, you know, some of the rats can be pretty big. A Norway rat, I think, somewhere between 7 and 10 inches, and anywhere from 10 ounces to a little over a pound. That's a lot.
That's what we've got.
I don't want to see him.
Wow.
They've got
I don't
that,
want to see him.
They got that goldish brown hair. I've still got the video. I meant to send it to Kenny. I got a couple that was on the farm, and one had a tumor in its neck, and it was healthy. It was fat, had a huge tumor on its neck, and another one had the same tumor on its back.
Here's a funny thing. They don't actually attack my chickens, but there's a certain area in my yard where I notice, and I'm pretty sure it's rats, I was talking to Pete about it earlier, is that they go in and they eat the feathers off the leg. He was saying that sometimes they eat the chicken. I haven't had that problem yet, but they eat the feathers off the legs of the chickens. Do you see that, Frank, where you're at?
No, not the feathers, but they will eat our chickens, but once they get over quill size and above, they won't bother. But if they're under quill size and down, they will eat them.
What I worry about them is eating baby chicks and the eggs.
They will.
That's what I got to be careful of.
Yeah, now, egg, I've never had any problems with the eggs, ever. But baby chicks, they will eat the baby chicks.
They like the eggs, right?
Yeah, they'll eat them. I would say it depends on what kind of food is around. They're opportunistic. They're not going to go bust their butt for it, as a general rule. They will if they have to, but on average, they're opportunistic. They're going to look for the easiest way in, the easiest way out, and where's the food, and that's it.
It's hard for them to crack an egg. I'm sure they could work it out, but like Peter said, it's a little harder for them.
I would think the bigger rats wouldn't have a whole lot of trouble with it. You know, you take a 10 to 17 ounce or so rat, pretty big.
He eats what he wants.
He can pick up an egg and kick it around a little bit. A mouse, a little different. Mouse can just look at it and wish. You know, and then they have a lot of offspring, 6, 7 litters a year, 8 to 12 or so, give or take. They call them pups. So when they have those, you get quite a population going quick.
They can do almost a dozen babies at one time. I didn't know they could do that many.
Mm-hmm.
They also can breed the next day after having birth.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I heard that. Yeah, I heard that.
Yeah. That's what makes them so evasive. Yeah. They're worse than rabbits.
Which is worse, mice or rats?
Oh, I think
rats.
I'd rather have mice than rats. Yeah.
Mice are easy to get rid of. I was telling Peter earlier that I can put some poison out. If I see a substantial amount of mice, you can smell mice. You can't smell rats. That's my observation is I can tell when mice are around, but if I don't see the rats, I don't smell them. I don't know it. Mice are different. But if I put the poison out, I have mice all over the place. They're just dead. And then I control them. It's like they're the dumb ones. They're the easy one to get rid of. Rats are a whole different story.
You can take a rat and say, take bacon grease or food and pour a poison on it, just a regular poison on it. They will not eat that food. They won't touch it. They know that food has been tainted. They know it. So it's very hard to do without using the poison that you buy out of the stores. You're not going to poison them any other way but that way, because they'll bust you every time by doing that.
Now, the rats we have here aren't really indigenous to this land. These all came from European, like the ships and stuff, right? Do I understand that right?
Right. Yeah, when you see a ship in port, I'm assuming they still do it. They have what's called a rat guard that goes down on the lines, and the big round circular disc that keeps them from running up the ropes, because they will. They're like tightrope walkers. They can just walk right up the rope onto the ship and take a voyage. No ticket required.
Okay, here's a question for you that I have. Derek is saying the field rats here will eat chickens and eggs for sure. How can you get rid of the field rats? I don't know. That's out in the meadows. You can't do anything about that, right?
Same way you would with groundhogs and stuff. Go find where they are and bait the nest.
Wherever they're coming to eat, they'll come there every time.
So the rats that I'm working on one side of the yard aren't the same rats on the other side of the yard. That's two different families, right? They don't really mix.
Yeah, more than likely, yeah.
Okay.
Like I said, they won't go more than 150 feet to get food, so that's from where their base would be. So if you have a big yard, it's quite possible to have multiple populations.
Mm-hmm.
It's when they start to intermingle with each other that it becomes a problem for them. When that colony gets too big, then they'll turn on each other, and they will eat their young. You just realize that they are a formidable enemy, and they are smart, and you just have to be just a half a step ahead of them if you want to get control of it, especially with the rats.
I keep my cameras up, my security cameras on my chickens. The only reason I've got it there is protection of my chickens, but I want to see what's lurking around my chickens. If I've got a possum, a raccoon, a bobcat, a fox, whatever it is, I want to know what it is. That way I know how to approach it and how to rid myself of it. When you've got something killing your chickens, you don't know what it is, makes it very difficult to do away with it when you don't know what you're up against.
Oh, yeah, sure. And like I said, we were talking, Kenny and I were before the show, and years ago I did some intern work when I was in school at DeKalb State, New York, and had a huge rat problem. And they were killing the chickens at night, just chewing the legs. And, they were useless after that. Didn't necessarily outright kill them, but we had to put them down. They were in bad shape.
Infestation there.
Yeah. And that was on a breeder farm of sorts. I can't remember all the little details of it, but it was interesting. It was an eye-opener at the beginning of my career.
We'll be right back after a word from our sponsor. This show was brought to you by the Breeders Academy, where we will help you to increase your knowledge of breeding, advance your skills as a breeder, and help you to improve the quality and performance of your fowl. As a member, we'll provide you with the roadmap that you will need to create a true family or strain. I urge you to check it out. You've got nothing to lose, and you can cancel at any time. You also have a 30-day money-back guarantee. Simply go to www.breedersacademy.com to sign up.
The Breeders Academy will not only change the way you think about breeding, but improve the way you breed your fowl.
I hope to see you there. So let's get started.
I know they're walk-in diseases, but what are the diseases we need to watch out for most dealing with them?
Probably two that come to mind of they can carry most poultry diseases, fowl cholera, certainly E. coli, which you would find in the droppings. Chickens are going to eat the droppings. Chickens are going to eat just about anything you put in front of them. But I would venture to say it just depends on what's in your area. If you've got problems with Merrick's, if you've got problems with other diseases and stuff.
What about the diseases, especially for chickens, that they can get, Peter? What should anybody look at as far as what would be the most dangerous diseases that the rats can?
We know that they bring fowl cholera. You've probably not seen that, but it's a bacterial disease. We know they carry E. coli, those two things. E. coli can be very deadly. There are a zillion different strains of E. coli. Kill a human in a heartbeat. I mean, you can look at getting certain strains from your food as a human and be dead from E. coli in 24 or 48 hours.
Well, certain
Before you-
restaurant, I'm not going to mention the name of it, just got into that here lately with onions that was tainted with that.
Yeah.
And it
Yeah.
killed several people, elderly people that had
Yep.
health issues anyway, but a couple of healthy people was hospitalized because of it.
It's an interesting thing. I know who you're talking about with the onions. I don't know how they got contaminated. It could be a zillion different ways. That could happen in any one of the restaurants, people not cleaning their hands after they go to the bathroom, so on and so forth. But E. coli is really bad. I know about 15, maybe even 20 years now, out in the Pacific Northwest, young couple with their toddler stopped at a convenience store and got him a drink and got some apple juice that wasn't pasteurized. And that child died from E. coli. And here's what the deal is, okay? The people who were picking the apples were picking up the apples off the ground, which you don't do. Once they hit the ground, they're done. Nobody wants them for anything because the deer, the raccoons, all that stuff is running around on that stuff during the night, leaving behind little surprises for everybody. You have to be careful. You just never know what any of them are carrying. It's possible to spread any one of the poultry diseases around. They just have to be exposed to it somewhere. Okay.
What about toxoplasma? One of those.
I don't see any reason why not.
Is that pretty common though, Peter?
No, not really.
So it's pretty out there. It happens pretty regular then.
Yeah. This whole rodent thing, you just don't want it. It's like inviting somebody onto your property that's got chickens and then they bring their disease with you.
Oh, yeah, I take it personal.
Well, I mean, it just can be controlled. If you got chickens, you got animals like that, you're going to get them. It's almost impossible to keep them out. I think this goes back to what we were talking about earlier on about the AI, how things, how do you let your guard down to get the rats because you got a life? And it's one of those things. So when you go on the poultry farm, and I've seen this, I've worked those jobs. You get the guy that, that's bull crap. Okay. Well, he ain't going to do nothing. And he's part of the problem. And you're over there scrubbing the knuckles off your fingers. The other thing is the places that will put footprints out, but never change the water or let them go dry. So people have a tendency to keep these things up in the beginning. And then when you stop enforcing it and stop going behind them, slapping them in the back of the head, making them do these things, they stop. And that's when opportunity to have issues comes along. I've seen it time and time again.
I just wish people understood that part about not coming on people's farms, the reason for it. But a lot of people take it offensive. They get mad when they say, well, do you allow visitors? And you're like, no, I don't have visitors. There's so many different things from theft, from disease. There's so many different aspects. There's nothing good about opening your farm up and letting people walk all over your property.
Okay, we've got a good question here. If a rat or a mouse is poisoned and the chicken eats the droppings, will it mess up the chicken?
Not the droppings, but the individual itself.
I doubt there would be enough of anything in the dropping. That mouse eats enough of poison. And most of the poisons today are more modern. So if you go back and look at the killing agents, one of the knocks against decon in the very beginning, way back, was that it was a warfarin-based product. Well, people take warfarin for heart issues. And you'll know a person that takes it because they have big bruises and blotches on their hands. Those are people that are taking warfarin. So with the warfarin, if you're taking too much, all you have to do is two things. Stop taking what you're taking and then keep drinking water and you'll flush it out. So that was the problem with it. They wouldn't get enough of it and then it would make them go drink water. So they go drink water and you'd be forever trying to kill the damn things. You'd eventually kill them and they get enough of it and can't get it out. That was one of the knocks against it in the very, very beginning.
In the 70s and 80s, you're right, Peter, because every time we would find a dead rat from decon, it'd be close to a water source, always.
Yep. What's this one here? Rats, frozen ground, can't get rid of them. I think it would be easy to get rid of them. Just put some bait out. Oh, does she mean that they're not coming out? They got to come out sooner or later, you would think. Yeah, their stash of food can't be that big. So here's something we can talk about here for a minute if you want to.
Sure.
We talked about it in a pre-show. So going back to the issue of having difficulty getting the rats to take the bait after a while, after you've killed a few of them and they recognize it and they outsmart you and so on and so forth. The newer ways to try to solve this is they have rat and mouse birth control now.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Mm-hmm.
All right. So I don't know if you can buy them. I'm going to just say that I've not really looked into it as deep as I should have. I just didn't have the time. But when I ran across it, I sent it out with the packet that I sent to Kenny. It's a good tool. While you're having trouble maybe getting rid of the present adults, you can keep them from having more and adding to the problem till you get it under control. So I think it's a really good 1-2 punch if you've really got an issue with it. Now, I don't know if they're going to sell it to the average person. I've never seen it anywhere in the stores. But Kenny has all the information on that if he wants to put it up on the website or wherever you put it up, show notes or whatever. I think it's a good idea just to so people know it's there. And if you've got to get an outside exterminator, maybe you can ask them about it. But I think it's a pretty cool idea. My guess is if you were using the blocks and they took them back to what I've found, okay, those that are in that hole where those blocks are dead more than likely because they'll feast on it. And most of them have just a cholecalciferol, which is a vitamin D. And so they get overdosed on vitamin D, so they're sensitive to it. But there's a zillion different ones out there now. I haven't fooled around with it much. I just go to the store and buy the one I know and grab it and bring it back to the house and use it if I have to.
Yeah, if we can keep them from reproducing themselves, that would be really good. That'd take care of them real quick. They only live 3 years.
They've got a bunch out there with bugs, ants, everything. It makes them sterile to where they can't reproduce. And really, that's a good way to go.
Yeah. Yeah, looking at dogs and cats with IGR, insect growth regulator.
Yeah, I'll put that on the website.
Yeah, I read that article that you did, Peter. It's pretty interesting. It was a good article.
Thank you. Well, my goal is always to help everybody out. And if somebody wants it, I'm going to find a way to put it up somewhere where they can download it. Too expensive for me to ship it to everybody, but it certainly would be free. I was just telling Kenny when I had these printed for a poultry show that I did, I have a really good printer here in town. If you feel that paper, that's a special paper. I like it. It won't wear out. People will have it. If you put it on just regular printer paper, it just get all funky and everything. I don't like to keep my stuff that way. So these are expensive. And I didn't think about how many pages this was all total. So when I took them down there to get them done, I just dropped them off and went back and picked them up. Well, the bill was over $400. And then when I thought about it, and I started looking, I said, oh, and I don't like things double-sided, so these are all single-sided.
Yeah. No, as soon as I pulled them out of the package, I went, wow, he's got the best printer ever. I need one of those.
And then I had to get a cover sheet for it. I'm acting like I know what the hell I'm doing. I don't. I got the guy who takes care of my computers and stuff. I showed him what I wanted, and he took the picture and made it fit on the paper. Like I said, I don't know any of that stuff. All my stuff for my book that I'm writing, or actually both books, he takes all the pictures and cleans them up for me and puts the arrows where I want them, that kind of stuff. The handwritten stuff that was on them before, takes that off and puts something is legible. I've got more thumb drives here with pictures on them than you take a stick at. Here's the problem with my pictures. I've got right around 10,000 or so different ones, and some hogs, some turkeys, and so on. They're all 35 millimeter slides. They don't work in today's world, so they'll all be converted. So I've spent a ton of money already just converting them over. Some I have this printing company do for me because they have a method to clean them. They've never been out of the boxes, a lot of them. They're all in carousels, 100 slides to 110 slides or whatever. They're all over the house. I got them everywhere. They're just piled up. So I've been going through those things and playing around with them and trying to get these books done, but it's a chore. Reminds me, you're going to laugh at this, I'll tell you this. I share it with a lot of people because I think it's hilarious. When do you think I started first writing these books? What year? Pick a year.
2015.
At least 20 years ago.
What'd you say?
2015?
Nope.
I said at least 20 years ago.
Close to it. 2009. Because I have a lot of stuff that's actually finished, but now it's so damn old, I got to go through and make sure. So I've actually decided to do it a little bit differently, not give you as much information because it isn't necessary. So I'm in the process of eliminating a lot of stuff that I call gobbledygook. You don't need it.
You know what I did that worked out really good? Because I kind of forced a self-imposed deadline on myself. Mm-hmm. So when I started writing for the magazines, the goal was to have a new article out every month. So I gave myself a month to collect the information, write it out, and have even time to clean it up. At the end of 30 days, I sent it off to the magazine. I'm a perfectionist. If I didn't have some kind of deadline, I'd keep working on that same article all year.
That's part of my downfall.
Yeah, getting all the information I want on it. I spent 2 weeks writing it, and in 1 week cleaning it up, sent it in, started a new one. And I wrote 2 books that way.
I'm no longer that disciplined.
Well, I had to force myself to be.
Yeah, in my early years, I used to be extremely disciplined. But as I've gotten older now, I give a rat's ass one way or another. I really don't.
My problem is I keep thinking of things that I should have put in it. And then through the day, I'm like, oh, I forgot to put that. I put that in there. And then the next day, I'm like, oh, I forgot to put that in there. And then it never stops. It just keeps going.
So you tell me if I'm right or wrong here, because I could use the advice, okay? So I've decided to take out a lot of the verbiage that's in this stuff and then break it down into sections that have a headline, like what it is, what to look for on necropsy, treatment, if there is any, and that kind of thing. So it's 5 or 6 different headlines. And under those, there can be anywhere from 2 lines to maybe a small paragraph, because you really don't need all of the other stuff unless you want to be some expert. And then if that's the truth, then go buy a different book, because this isn't that book. If you're going to be in a lab setting, this is not what I'm talking about. I'm writing it for all of those guys that have gamefowl, backyard chickens, and just want to learn something about diseases enough to fix the problem. That's where I'm at with it. But it would be heavy with pictures.
I think they like that better because it's like this. If it's all lumbo jumbo and it goes into different aspects of it, they don't look at the real picture of it. What you're saying is put what matters on paper that's going to do them good.
Okay, so just give you an example. You're out looking at your birds and there's some sort of respiratory issue going on. So do you want to sit and read paragraph after paragraph after paragraph until you get to the symptoms? Or do you want to go to a thing that says symptoms? Boom, right here. Yeah. So you can go and scan through all the symptoms. That's what I'm going to do.
There's a book. Where is it out? This one here called Avian Disease Manual. Now, if you look at all the other modern chicken books on the shelf that talks about different topics, and then you have some that are specializing in like diseases and things like that. If you look at those, there's all kinds of fluff in there. A lot of things you don't need to know.
Nope.
And then you start reading them, they all start sounding like the same damn thing for every disease.
Exactly.
This one is very expensive. Yours is going to probably be more economical than this one. This is good. And what I do like about it, which sounds like what you want to do, is it takes all the fluff out. It gets right to the point, tells you exactly what you need to know. No more, no less. Heavy with pictures. But this is what veterinarians use, this book here. Not everybody's going to get this book because it's so darn expensive.
Right.
I don't even bother with the other ones. I can't wait to see yours.
I can't wait to get it done.
Yeah.
Really.
Well, me too.
No, I mean, there's a side of me that says, get it done. The other side of me says, who cares?
No, I like your idea because it reminds me of this book I'm holding here, and it's going to be more economical for them to get than this one here. I mean, for a while, I was referring people to this book all the time, but no one wanted to buy it because they said it was too expensive.
Well, I can't say mine's going to be too cheap because pictures are expensive, and good pictures.
You're not going to charge a couple $100 for it.
No, that's not my intent. My intent is not necessarily to make some big killing on it. If it works out that way, fine. But I doubt it. It's a smaller audience. The thing is to, like we were talking before, about fixing the problem. That's what my whole goal has ever been. Like I said, do this, do that, you make money doing it. No, you wouldn't want to be on the other side of this making the money I make. You'd run. Because for me, it has never been about a dollar bill. Never. And I told you about the people that I've helped. And I will send you, and I trust you with those pictures of that duck. And I was telling Kenny in the pre-show, a woman about 2 months ago now, got a hold of me at my site where you can pay me $50 to do a consultation, whatever. And everybody thinks you make a killing on that. I think last year, the total was like $2,000 for the whole year. Whoopie-doo. And for the amount of time that I spend. So it's not like you talk to me and we hang up and we're done. You want to talk to me again. No, we take that issue from the day you call me till we decide we're done with it. It's just the way I operate. I'm not interested in the money as much as I am in solving the problem. So anyway, this woman gets a hold of me, says her duck was attacked by a hawk. So I said, well, send me a picture. He sent me a picture. I immediately shot back to her and I said, look, number one, I'm not a veterinarian. I said, I'm a poultry biologist. I said, I'm not a surgeon. I said, but I can help you. The hawk had completely ripped the bird's eye out. No eye whatsoever. No eyelid, no tissue around the eye, just a big, giant hole. And in 5 weeks, we healed that bird with a special bandage that you can buy off the shelf. I had her go get one, and I talked her through it, texting, not even on the phone. And I do that with everything. Don't forget, every bird I've ever looked at over the entire career, I've never had my hands on, ever. Thanksgiving Day, I get a $50 consult from a guy in Ethiopia. He had a flock of 50,000 laying chickens. They were dying 50 a day. Figure it out. I said, well, what about the vets there? I said, do a necropsy? He said, yeah, but they don't know. I'm saying to myself, they're there, they don't know. And I'm here across the world and you want me to know. So I said, have you got a picture of the liver? So he said, yeah. I said, send me the picture. So it sent the liver to me, picture of it. And immediately I recognized it. It looked to me like E. coli. So I got my stuff out and I compared it with mine that have E. coli. And sure enough, so I said, what have you done so far to help you? He said, well, I put Baytril on him. I said, what happened? He said, well, it stopped. I said, okay, so we know you've got a bacterial problem. So I said, you got a rodent problem? Oh, no. And I'm thinking Ethiopia, rodents everywhere. You tell me you don't have chicken house, Ethiopia, got to have rodents. But he says no. So after a bunch of talking back and forth, and again, not talking on the phone, when I say talking, just texting, okay, we decided to chlorinate the water. It's only coming from either the chicken house itself or the feed or the water or possibly the air. And once we chlorinated the water, it cut it down to no more than 2 birds a day. I never saw the damn birds, never put my hands on them. It's how you learn the symptomology, how you differentiate one from the other. Like I say, I've been doing it for a long time, about 60 years now. Doesn't make me better than anybody else. It's just that I am fortunate to be able to look at it and say, oh, we can do this. And I'm not afraid to take on something. Like I told you about the other gal I've been helping. And I gave that product away because she was not in a financial position to deal with it. And I was telling her, hey, I'm like $250 in the hole. Doesn't matter. We're gaining on it. The person who she had do work on that bird left her high and dry. I'm sorry, there's nothing else we can do. And so there we are.
After they drained her wallet, pretty much.
Yeah. You got to have some compassion in you somewhere along the line, and that's where I am at.
Well, like I was telling you earlier, Peter knows, he understands the disease. He understands how it affects the chickens. He understands what medications to use when it's necessary. But there's a lot of what we call medicine peddlers out there that don't understand the disease. Mm-hmm. And they have chick programs. Every day they're giving their baby chicks something different. They have like a chick program for supplements and medicines. And there was nothing wrong with the chicks in the first place. But they feel like they have to have these programs. They have worming programs. So it's like they invent these problems that don't really exist, which actually creates issues for the birds later down the road just to sell these medicines. They can't pronounce the disease. They can't pronounce the medication. Nothing. It's just insane what's going on out there with what I call medicine peddlers.
They want to vaccinate them for a preventative before they even get it.
Yeah. No, they want to give antibiotics for a preventative, too.
Antibiotics, vaccinations. I saw a post there the other day in a gamefowl site that said, okay, guys, I'm just starting gamefowl. What type antibiotics do I need and what type vaccines do I need to give my birds? Before he even had a problem.
And they're worming baby chicks, Peter.
That's absurd. I'm a firm believer in being a poop inspector. What I do is pay attention to the birds, look at their crap a couple times a week, and tell you a lot. Tell you about coccidiosis, tell you about worms, tell you about enteritis, tell you if they're flushing, not enough fiber in their diet, or the constant diarrhea, which is not normal. You take action. You can do some preventative things. That's fine. But baby chick, come on, give me a break. That's just absurd.
And that's every 2 weeks. Worm them every 2 weeks and them up on wire and worming them every 2 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
Crazy.
They say they're coming out of the shell with worms in their intestines out of the shell.
It's impossible. Can't be done.
Well, it can be done in their world, I guess.
What it is, a lot of times when a baby chick is first hatched, it can actually poop a little core that looks just like a worm, a shedding from what it's been living off of the yolk of the egg.
Right.
And Peter will probably tell you this too. He's probably seen them in his time. And it looks just like a worm. But if you pull it up, it's just a little bitty small cylinder. I think that's what a lot of people see. They misdrew it. Well, my bird's got worms. And they're just thinking that's what they're seeing, when in reality it's not.
And another common practice is giving a half cc of antibiotics in their breast. That's it. Pulse shot, let them go.
Let's peel this back a little bit, okay? Earlier, you're talking about why the antibiotics have been taken away. That's one of the core reasons for doing that. You invite antibiotic resistance.
Yep.
I found it to be the problem with these people that do that. Ignorance, number one. Lazy, don't want to give a shot all the time. And I would never give a bird shot 5 days in a row. I think it's ridiculous. You can take Thailand 50 and shoot it down the throat just as you can put it in the breast. Let's talk about this part of it, okay? Would you like it if I came to you and gave you a shot in your arm 5 days in a row? I don't think so.
And not be able to use your arm for 2 or 3 days. That Thailand 50 and 200,
Yeah.
it's so thick when they give a shot in the breast, they won't even go on the roost the next night.
Yeah.
There's a sore.
Yeah.
And again, this goes back to people that are lazy. They want to get their information from people that don't know. And I don't argue with them. You want to run with that football, you run with it. Go have fun.
It used to be a big topic for us. Frank and I are to the point where we just lay our straight stick next to their crooked stick, and we just pass out that good information, and we don't go on the attack as much these days. Just some things just irritate me, like giving copper sulfate for coccidiosis and worms. That's another one. Those kind of things just drive me crazy as a routine, as a program.
You can if you've got nothing else, but you need to move on from that. I don't condone it.
It's a useful tool when you need it, but not just doing it every time.
Yeah, I don't think you would the way they're using it, Peter.
They're doing regiments every 3 months.
Again, this goes back to being ignorant, and certainly I'm probably more in tune with it than they would be because I'll read the research on it. But when you give copper sulfate, it erodes the beginning of the proventriculus, and so you can cause more issues than it's worth.
Yep.
If you're going to use it as a one-time treatment, you only need 1/4 teaspoon of acidified copper sulfate to a gallon of water.
But Peter, they're not even giving it to sick chickens. They're giving it as a preventive. Their idea is to get rid of all the coccidia, all the worms. They won't even let anything survive in the intestines at all.
Yeah.
They're feeding their birds on the ground when it's muddy, nasty, in their own poop, feces, and urine of the bird. It's wet and it's nasty, and they're dumping it right on the ground, and they're eating that. So they're using a copper sulfite to kill all the bacteria that's in their chickens, and they think it's just the best thing since sliced bread.
And again, we go back to not understanding how the gut works. Between 60 and 70% of the bird's immune cells reside in the gut. So if you don't take care of the gut, you have a sick bird. That's why you have chronic illnesses in these birds by giving them too much antibiotic, giving them too much copper sulfate, worming constantly, which is ridiculous. I just don't understand it. But, I'm not going to talk them out of it because you can't.
That's true.
I'll give you an example. We talked before the show about the coccidiosis. Remember I mentioned it on Facebook. So one guy come on there, he said, I just kill them when they get coccidiosis. And I said, well, if you ever understood the disease, you would be able to prevent it. His reply was, I'm hard-headed. Well, go be hard-headed. I mean, what the hell? I mean, what do I care? It's not my bird. I'm willing to help you. I'm going to explain it to you, but you don't want to listen. So go on your merry way. I'm to that point where I don't want to waste my time, but I will spend all day with somebody that does want to know. But if you want to waste my time, go on.
That is why I will not go on social media. Nancy's always telling me, not as much today as she used to, but she'd say, hey, these guys are having problems. Why don't you go and give them a hand? I'm like, no.
Oh, I don't do that anymore.
Yeah, because they're not ready for it.
Yeah, the only way I do it, Kenny, now is I go to a private message. This woman with that one bird,
that's what
private message. And like I told you, she didn't want to take it in the beginning. I think she was afraid of, he's going to have my information. I don't care where you live. I mean, if you want to help the bird, fine, I'm here. If you don't, that's okay. It's your bird, not mine.
We'll pass information on this show. And whatever they gather and agree with, they take whatever.
Yeah.
But as far as helping them one-on-one, I only do it in the website. You know why? Because those members appreciate it. They're open to it. They're receptive to the things I'm teaching them. They're excited, motivated. They're willing to learn. That atmosphere inside that website and working with my members is completely different than what I deal with outside of it. So I don't even go there. If they want my help, they know how to get a hold of me. That's how I look at it.
Yeah.
Probably a dozen people have done this to me. Me and Kenny would be on here, we'd be doing a show, and I'd say, it's crazy to worm your birds every 2 weeks, or something to that sense, Mm-hmm. And then the next day, I'm getting all these messages, you was talking about me on your show last night. And I was like, I don't even know you. What do you mean I was talking about? Well, you said it was crazy to worm your birds every 2 weeks, and they took it seriously like I was talking about them. So it blows my mind just to how some people think in just general conversations sometimes.
Yeah, I didn't use anybody's names here tonight either.
And it won't matter if you do, because some of them, just because you say something that they're doing, it's a personal attack on them without even mentioning their name even.
And Kenny talking about it beforehand, I never blow my own horn. I'm not interested in what I know and accolades of any kind. That means nothing to me, nothing whatsoever. I know what I know, and if you're smarter than I am, my hat is off to your ass right now. So just go on with your happy self,
Real quick, back to the book idea. Nancy knows this too. I've written 2 books so far, but in some ways I don't have any interest in writing any more books. I like what I'm doing now. But if I wrote a book, it would have the basic information, how to get to the website where you'll learn more. So I would use that book as a calling card for the website. I wish I would have been able to do that in the beginning, where my first 2 books were more of a calling card for the website. Because even now, I look at the information that's in those books. Good information. I think they're great starters. But compared to what's in the website with the breeding programs and how I've expanded the information, I don't even refer people to the books anymore because I think the website's such a better deal. Mm-hmm. So if I did another book, that's how I'd do it. I would do it as a calling card.
So the other book that I've got underway is my avian embryology book, which I happen to like that stuff a lot. I've got super duper color pictures of every day of incubation. So my goal with that is not to teach you basic incubation. I think if you're going to take this stuff on, you should at least know the basic parameters. This book is designed what happens when they don't hatch the way you want them to hatch. How do you go about fixing it? Because most people don't know. So the object here will be you have to be a little bit smarter than the average bear. What you're going to do is take these pictures and compare them to do what we call an egg breakout. So you're going to take the eggs that didn't hatch, very gingerly break them out into a saucer, look at the position of the head in relation to the wing, if the bird's that far along, and compare it to the picture so that you can determine what day it died, which is key to figuring out how to fix it. Under the picture, there will be a score of things that could have caused it to go wrong, and you'll look at those and compare it to what your program you're doing and so on and so forth. Most of it's vitamins and minerals and that kind of stuff is usually the cause. So there'll be other helpful hints. I'm a believer in supplementing the breeding stock prior to collecting the eggs for the breeding season. I think it gives you stronger, healthier chicks and better chicks, bigger chicks. So that's what that one's going to be about. Again, heavy with pictures, loads of pictures. I love pictures. Tell 1,000 words. You can look at it and you can tell a lot just from that standpoint. So that's what the goal is. That one's kind of easier to do than the others. The other ones are drawn out with many chapters and this and that. Also, I'm toying with the idea on the disease book itself to make it unique and give people a bonus. Not sure how I'm going to do it yet, but my color disease poster, if you've ever seen it, is pretty cool. Some way, shape, or form, that'll be part of the disease book, or either a CD or something like that, which I think is a fantastic tool. I'm a big fan of people. If you own birds, you're obligated, in my opinion, to do a necropsy on every bird that dies. You can document all of that. You can take pictures. You can take notes. And then the next time you see it, you know what you're dealing with, or you'll have a better understanding. There's a lab we're using down in Texas that is pretty reasonable. You know, if you don't want to get your state involved in anything, you can send it off there and get your results from them and compare that to what you're seeing in the necropsy and stuff. So it's exciting. I just wish I was as excited about getting it done as I sound here talking about it, but it's a lot of good stuff, and we'll just have to see.
Yeah, don't shelve it.
Like I was saying to Kenny beforehand, the older you get, the less you want to do this. I've got a zillion different things on my plate and heavily vested in the Civil War, and that's where I want to be. This has probably pretty much worn me out, if you know what I'm saying.
Oh, we get it.
I'm not a spring chicken anymore.
I have my chores, things that have to be done first. That's what I do. Then if I have time, I work on the other projects. I have a certain routine I have to do, to get everything done.
I have a routine in the morning too. I get up, shower and shave and all that junk, and then I go to Panera Bread and eat my breakfast and have my coffee there, and maybe I'll bring some work to do there a little bit. But then I got friends that come and talk to me about Civil War and stuff, and leave there at noontime. So get there.
My ritual is I thank God my eyes opened the next morning. That's about it.
I'm not going to go into my ritual because I got 4 questions here, and they're great questions, and I want to get them out to you guys before we hit 2 hours. Jose has finally joined us, and of course, Jose always has great questions to ask. First one is, what if the mice and rats carry fleas? Can they transmit diseases that way?
Sure. Especially biting fleas, yeah.
Do the chickens do that?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, chickens can eat the fleas too.
Yep.
And that's some more parasites that the fleas has got right there just being on the rat.
And what time of the year are they most active? Summertime, spring and summer.
Okay. In his area, it's hard to combat rodents. People have a lot of games, cows, sheep, horses.
So that's when you want to use a bait box or some of those things. I like the PVC one a lot, and I like the 1x6 because it's cheap and easy to do. You can start on it tomorrow for just a few bucks. Get an 1.5 inch round or so, 2-inch round. You want to make it too big because then they make a nest out of the damn thing. And that's the other thing. You want to make sure you keep it clean, keep the bait fresh. If they're not using the bait, move it. But you want to put the bait where you see them,
I bought one for $15 just to get the patent off of it and then built my other ones.
And did you buy that at Tractor Supply or where could he get that?
$15.99. And the only thing it is a T, just a T, plastic T, and you insert your bait poison at the top of it, and then they go in at the bottom of it.
Yeah.
You can mount it to a board even.
Yeah, that's what I sent him, all the plans to make it.
Yeah.
And it's free. They don't have to pay for that part of it. They can just go to the store. The plans are free. Shows you how to do it.
Kenny, do we have a picture of that inside the website of what that would look like?
What were you guys talking about? I'm looking at something else.
The bait stations that I sent you.
Oh, yeah. No, I have to take a picture of it, put it on there.
Okay.
They're
I'm going
easy
to write
made.
that down to take a
Now-
picture.
If you don't even have that particular tea, what I do is I take a small bowl and then a bigger bowl and set it over top of it and just lift it up off the ground just a little bit with a couple pebbles under it, and they go under it and then over top of it, and to put something heavy on it where it can't be rolled over. So that's an easy fix. But if you got animals, you need this, what Peter's talking about. That way your animals don't get to the poison that way.
Yep.
There's no chance of it.
Frank, if you want a written copy of all what we've been talking about here, and just text me your address and stuff, I'll send it to you.
Sure, I appreciate that.
Yeah, I've got plenty of them, so it's not a big deal.
Okay,
But,
so what are the signs of E. coli? A lot of the diseases have the same symptoms.
E. coli, generally a watery brown dropping. Sometimes can be white, which would be coli bacillosis. It's what they call white diarrhea. Hard to tell sometimes.
Thank you very much, Jose. We really appreciate you. All right, now back to the live comments. Let's see what else we've got here. Any recommendations on natural pest prevention, like any scent that annoys the rats? Is there certain plants that you can plant in your yard that kind of keep them away?
That I don't know. That I don't know. I would imagine so. I would think things like mint, probably not their favorite. The garlic is probably not a favorite of most animals anyway. Deer don't like it. Geese don't like it. Mosquitoes don't like it. So maybe rats won't like it either. That's something you can test out with a clove of garlic and just crush it. But that stuff's available. It's out of California. The mosquito barrier is what it's called. It comes in a quart and a gallon, relatively inexpensive. And you go on their website and they'll tell you how to mix it with all kinds of stuff to get it sprayed out.
So Randy has advice. Mother Nature knows the best snakes, and they're great. Otherwise, good old snap traps work great, but becoming harder and harder to come by to get those snap traps, I guess. Can you get those at Tractor Supply?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah, you buy them in a 2-pack. They're like a little small mouse trap, but they're just bigger versions of it.
They've got bigger ones they sell for rats too.
I use the jump traps is what I use.
Yeah.
Is that the kind that we got, Kenny?
What's that?
I remember you buying some traps for rats. Is it called a snap trap that we got, Kenny?
No, I don't use those. I have the Ratinator. It's like the squirrel traps. And then I have bait traps that I put the poison in.
And do we have a picture
On the website.
under what, Predator?
It's on this page here for my members. Just go to the healthcare page. I did an article on rats and mice, and it's in there. I'm probably going to add this video to that page.
That, I believe, is all the questions I had.
If you got 5 minutes, something else just came to my mind. I think is important.
Go for it.
Sure.
I'm seeing an uptick in game people using laryngotracheitis vaccine.
Really?
Yeah,
That's like a Pandora's box, isn't it?
it sure as hell is, and that's why I just brought it up. So if you go to some vendors, you'll look and you'll see they've got a vaccine for right around $20. If you go to my website, it's $36.95. So people think you're ripping them off. But ignorance is bliss, and they don't understand that there's a huge difference between the two vaccines. The cheap one, because it's cheaper to make, is a chick embryo. So it's made from embryos that are infected, and they grind it up, blah, 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 and they make it into a vaccine. The other one is tissue culture, which is much more mild. And the one that I sell for $36.95 is the one they should be using because it doesn't spread bird to bird. The other one will shed at least a minimum of 30 days, or maybe longer, and maybe even have a rolling reaction where that vaccine will decide to come back and run it again through the bird all on its own. So most of the so-called outbreak people have or such are vaccine related, meaning that the bird came in contact with a bird that was vaccinated with the hotter vaccine and has a vaccine strain of the disease, which is not going to be as bad as having the wild strain by any stretch, but still in all will cause you now to have to vaccinate. So I'm very fortunate for this particular vaccine. Years and years and years ago, when I was in that business directly, one of my friends worked for the opposition who made that vaccine. When he retired, he gave me all of the data. I know the strain, I know how many times it's passed. I know all of that stuff. I have all of the studies done on how they did their studies, so showing that it didn't spread from one bird to another. So I know extremely well on that one where I'm talking from. I've got it right here. It originally was made by a company called Shearing, ASL, American Scientific Laboratories, and was bought out by Shearing Plow, and then they were bought out by Intervet, and Merck owns Intervet now. So it's a transition from way, way back. So they shouldn't be buying that. I'm not trying to get them to buy mine. Just know what you're buying, because what's cheap isn't always cheap. Most people will have a tendency to buy vaccines that way. Even different manufacturers, you can't compare apples to apples like that. It just doesn't work. Even when it comes down to buying coryza vaccines, there are good and better. And that's where you want to be.
Okay. Anything you guys want to say before we wrap it up?
I'm done.
We talked to Ira. Just another special thanks to Jose for
thanks,
his
Jose. Appreciate
generosity. We really appreciate you. And he's saying the Breeders' Academy is the best and it's worth joining. So we really appreciate that.
Awesome. Okay, so we're going to wrap it up. I appreciate Peter coming on the show. I appreciate all the comments and the questions that you guys gave. You guys really do help shape the show. I hope we learned more about rats. I know I had a lot of members ask me about it, so I thought it would be a good time to come on and talk about it. Thanks a lot. I'll see you guys later.
See you,
Thank you.
See you, Peter.
Okay, thanks for listening.
Yes, thank you again for joining us on the Bred to Perfection podcast show. This show was brought to you by the Breeders' Academy, where by becoming a member, you can increase your knowledge of breeding, advance your skills as a breeder, and take you and your fowl to the next level.
We can also show you how to create a strain from hybrid crosses or mongrel flocks, and help you to create, maintain, and improve your present strains. We urge you to check it out. You have nothing to lose, and you can cancel anytime.
To join us at the Breeders' Academy membership website, go to www.breedersacademy.com.
Best of all, I'll be there to help you every step of the way.
While you're checking out the Breeders' Academy, make sure to sign up for our newsletter, The Breeders' Bulletin. We provide a lot of free bonus materials and some great information that will take you and your fowl to the next level. Well, that's it for now.
We hope you join us next time for another episode of Bred to Perfection. We'll see you later.
Bye. Welcome to the after show. This is the part of the show that doesn't exist. What happens in the after show stays in the after show. If you've mentioned to your friends about the after show, which happens from time to time, no worries. Just tell them not to let out our little secret area of the show. Enjoy!
Uniformity, consistency, predictability, repeatability, those are all indications of a successful line breeding program. If I'm not getting that, then something went wrong. I did it wrong, or I used the wrong birds.
Main thing is they reproduce themselves. That's key.
You don't get that when you're crossing or doing outcrossing. They're not repeating. You're not getting uniformity. You're not getting the consistency. You're not getting the predictability at all, because when you're outcrossing, it's all unpredictable. They cannot repeat themselves at all.
But wouldn't you say that it's really important to know the history of your breed? Because you could be doing all the selecting from year to year to year to get to a purpose of what you want and an idea of what you want this breed to look like. If you are developing a Rhode Island Red and you didn't do your homework on what a Rhode Island Red should really look like, and your friend comes over who knows what a Rhode Island Red should really look like, conformation of body, color, and the whole 9 yards, and goes, what the heck is that? The same thing with American games. I mean, there's certain aspects of the American games that should be followed. A certain type of conformation of body, a certain type of type, the color, the length of leg, all these things. There are some rules that we should be following, correct, when we're selecting?
So that's what I was saying earlier. When you're doing your selecting, you have to understand the breed. You have to understand what represents the breed. You have to understand what makes up the breed. We're talking about understanding the whole bird, not just part of the bird. A lot of gamefowl breeders understand the purpose of the bird, but they don't understand the bird, the structure, and the makeup of the bird. They wouldn't be adding outside blood like Asil and Peruvian blood if they did. So you're right. They have to have a certain type, which is the overall shape of the bird. We like to say it's the silhouette. If you were to take a silhouette of the bird and look at it, it would give you the overall shape of the bird. Conformation is all its parts and its proper places and proportions, which represents the breed. And then you've got the color. And every variety has a specific color. And if you're just mixing up colors, yeah, you're not going to get there. Then you got temperament, performance ability, production ability, breed characteristics, those kind of things. So yeah, you have to understand the bird to be able to select properly, right, Frank?
Yep. And the thing about it is, I'll say it again, you don't see donkeys running in the Kentucky Derbies. When you see a thoroughbred, you see a
Well said.
thoroughbred. When you see American game chicken, you should see not a Bantam, not a Rhode Island Red, but American game chicken.
Exactly.
Sue says Rhode Island Reds is one complicated bird. I hear that. You would think it'd be easy.
I thought they would be.
Yeah, but I hear that all the time, that they are very...
What's the problem with them? Enlighten us on that, what the problems is with us. Because I've wondered that. I've heard the same thing. I'm curious.
Just from talking to some breeders who are trying to breed Rhode Island Reds, I think they're mixing up the production bird with the actual breed. They're two completely different breeds.
That could be. Yeah.
And then there's confusion, I think, Sue could probably correct me, on how dark that red should be, because a lot of them push it to almost black. They're so dark, they're almost black. But I think the biggest complication is some people breeding them, like Nancy said, they don't understand the breed. They don't understand the structure, because they should have a certain type. They should have a certain length of back with the tail at the right angles. A lot of people, they want to make birds what they shouldn't be. So, and I was that way too when I was younger. Before I actually got gamefowl, I had Rhode Island Reds and I had barred Plymouth Rocks. And I did everything I could to make them look like gamefowl. So I was one person at that time. I was just a kid, but I was one person that didn't understand the breed. I was trying to make them something they weren't, thinking I was improving them. You can't do that. That's why the standard is so important. So we're all breeding our breeds the same as everybody else. We're all doing the same thing together. And so we're maintaining and preserving the breed.
I really don't think that they're trying to change them, Kenny. I think they breed them and what they get is what they get. And they don't try to change them or acknowledge any improvements in them. It's just they breed them, what they get is what they get.
That's true too.
Yeah, I could be wrong, but I think it's a lot more of that than it is anything.
If you are enjoying the show and would like to learn more, I encourage you to join me at the Breeders' Academy. By becoming a member, I can help you to achieve the competitive advantage.